Hello, welcome to YONICHAT again. It's the next episode. So this episode we're going to discuss what does it mean to be a male feminist? How did you first learn about sex? How do we begin honoring the feminine? We'll get to those questions and more. You know this conversation went all over the place, but in all good directions. Stay tuned.
Look at that.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me.
And me too.
And brother, there you go. Okay, so just to give you guys a setup of tonight, so we have us here, we have a man here that loves and honors women. We're going to talk more about that in a second. And then we also have a very beautiful man honoring us by serving us tonight. Yes. So if we need drinks, if we need snacks, if we need drinks, he will deliver to us. Our brother Shalom, and I'm very grateful that he's here. And very grateful for Farah too. So we're just, it's a perfect balance today. Yes. We're goddesses, and we're just gonna hold the space, talk about sex some more, and then have a male perspective also.
Oh.
Yeah. So can you introduce yourself?
My name is Farah Kid, and I am CEO of Black OC, and you can find me on Instagram at The Black OC. That's simple. The Black OC on Instagram.
Yes.
Wow.
If you guys want to know what Black OC looks like, it's here. It's Black OC.
That's why I like Black OC, because we're so culturally diverse.
Yep. This is all Black OC.
Everybody black in 2017. Or what year is it?
2019.
2019.
Okay, so can we talk about the time though? Would you like to share why the time?
Yeah, because I've been gone for so long. So time, my concept of time is messed up. I spent the last 10 and a half years in prison. It's been a year and just over a year and a half for me. So forgive me if my concept of time is sometimes warped.
Yeah. And we appreciate you being here, and
likewise,
like 1.5 years, like you're still getting it. You're still filling yourself up with this feminine energy and just selling yourself back into life, right?
I got a TR reading the other day, or maybe a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that she told me, which was very interesting, she said, I believe her. First, I got the reading because I didn't intend to. My mother was getting it, and she said some things to my mother that I knew she couldn't have known. That were deep, like whoa. So I said, you know what, I want to do that. And one of the things that she said to me, she said, wow, all you had some very powerful spirit guides. She said they all left, and a whole brand new cast of spirit guides came in. Wow. And she says, and she said they're women. She said, She said they're very feminine energy, and whatever that masculine energy, those masculine spirit guides that you needed to get you through that situation, you're not in there no more. You're out here now, and now you can relax and let that energy begin to guide you in the right direction. So I'm sitting here right now. I didn't expect this. I didn't intend this. I feel very honored.
Yeah,
this is full circle.
It is full circle. That is so beautiful.
And I kind of like the symbolism of it. Like the man is on the floor. He's not higher than the woman, but he's still honored.
And I knew you would love it.
He's in the front still, and he's surrounded. So that I feel definitely.
You were in a whole circle of feminine energy, loving energy. So there's no better place to be. For a man or a woman, right? Just being around each other feels good. Yeah. So
it's hard to receive love. It's easier to give it for me, but I definitely.
For most, so how many of you guys can speak to that? Like easier to give than receive.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. There's definitely a safer space in giving than receiving, because receiving just like a lot of times you don't feel worthy. You feel like you're doing too much. There's guilt attached to that. Yeah. And it's like okay, like. But like we have to think about how me and Farah were talking about this last time. When somebody gives to you, it feels good for them. Just like when you give, as much as you love giving, it feels good to you, right? So why would you deny other people, especially people you love, to do the same? Like give them the satisfaction of like making you feel happy, of helping you out. So it is a two-way street, and both ways involve, leading with love and showing love. So and one of the things I want to point out about my friend, our brother Farah here, is that he considers himself a feminist. So we have a male feminist here, and I wanted to ask him, why does he consider himself a feminist? Answer that.
So first I'll say my concept. Well, first let me say this. So I got introduced to the I got introduced to feminism through my auntie. She's a professor of feminist studies at Texas A&M University. And she sent me all my black literature, like just really black, socially black conscious books while I was in prison. And then she would slip in the feminist books. Like,
yeah. Yes, auntie.
Wow.
And I think one of the things I started really realizing while I was in there, and I said it just like this, I said, the greatest crime that I committed wasn't stealing from people, wasn't some of the hurting people. I never killed nobody, nothing like that, or selling drugs. But the worst thing that I did was, the worst crime that I committed was the way I treated women, beginning with my mother. Yeah. So I was very, I didn't have a father. So at some point I got to a place where I felt like, my mom couldn't stop me from doing whatever I wanted to do. And I caused her a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of tears, a lot of financial trouble. And then, I had a fly little look when I was growing up, and I had a lot of little girlfriends, and they loved me. And at some point I started realizing that I can be selfish with that. I can get things. Women will give me everything. They'll give you all their,
we will.
Yeah, when they love you, they'll give you everything.
Yeah.
And so I started allowing them to give me everything and taking everything and not reciprocating that. So I realized that I did a lot of bad stuff, but the people that I really made cry and their heart hurt was women. And so I understood that, and I felt bad for it. But then I started really studying just like how the music I grew up on, bitches ain't shit, buttholes and tricks, and just really understanding where did I get these messages from? How did I come to these conceptions that it was all right to treat women like this? And I just became more aware of the music, more aware of things that I see on television, religious ideology, and kind of how that's really degraded women and continues to degrade, dehumanize women, or just subjugate them. And I came into a definition. I said a feminist, there's a lot of different, that's a hard word to pin down, and there's a lot of different definitions, but I said a feminist is a person who regards the well-being of a woman primarily. And so it doesn't make any logical sense that for men that we wouldn't want to see women thrive. And I think that the more that we give to women, I think that you guys are the most powerful force in the universe. I don't know any woman more stronger than my mother. And every time I'm low or I need help, it's a woman that I go to, whatever different women have been in my life at that time. And it's always the women who empower me and strengthen me and heal me and believe in me and push me and guide me and motivate me. So I love you guys. That's probably the only problem.
And let us know that that's in no sexual context. That's just in a context where you respect me as a human being. You totally realize that after the gender, we're just these skeletons and bones, and we share all these common features with each other, but yet we think of each other only in this context where we have to be sexually aroused, or we have to have that image, even if it is just a heterosexual relationship, or that sort of friendship. It some people will tell it as they'll think of that relationship as something else. But in the way that you just described, that you could be friends with any woman in here, and I would be comfortable if I was in a relationship with you, because you just respect women in that way. And for you to understand that, it will go a long way with you. And I'm excited to see your future with Black OC grow, because of a simple concept you understand. Yeah, it really is.
Because he harnesses the feminine energy and he embraces it. And that will empower any man. And that's one thing that I feel like men don't understand, or just society doesn't understand, is that masculinity is not threatened by feminine energy. It's empowered by it. It's enhanced by it. The most powerful men are backed by powerful women all the time. You can't do without us. We actually gave birth to you, so if you're a powerful man and you're here, it's because of women.
You don't even have to go far, like you were saying. You look at your mom.
Yeah.
The things that, just the fact that she gave birth to you, even if you just think about the fact that a woman can carry a child in her womb. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I can't imagine
in itself.
Childbirth. I don't think that a man can.
Not even
can endure that.
No,
and if we could do it, we probably wouldn't be willing. I'm not going to go through all that for you.
Right.
So when a woman gives that to you so readily, that's a great sacrifice. And also like with the mom thing, like I started realizing I would not let any man treat my mom the way that I treat women. I wouldn't let any man treat my daughter the way that I treated women.
You look at it from a different perspective now when you see it as someone you know and love.
Yeah.
You're like, that's my mom, that's my sister, that's my aunt. Would I want to see somebody do that?
No.
Yeah. So it's good that you have kind of, you know, you're in a whole different space now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe back then, you were definitely not on that that plane at all.
Right.
Even as women, so like even as women, don't we have our own judgments against each other? Like we would call each other a hoe, or you know, go like, oh, like, you know, she's all laughing like, what is hoe? Yeah, we would judge each other like, oh my god, she's doing that, like, oh my gosh, she got caught doing giving a blowjob, and now she's like on the low end of the totem pole. But it's like us also, let's say, looking at our mothers and looking at that relationship, like how we reflect off of our mothers, how we reflect off of, you know, our judgment of them. Do we see some of that in ourselves? It's kind of inevitable, right? And so it's also a growing point for us as women to reflect on how we feel about the feminine energy and how we embrace it and support it. Because that's a big thing. It's like sister support is a huge thing. And I feel like I've experienced it, you know, recently for the first time, you know, in the last 5 years. And it was something new to me because at first it was like you're in this little corner, you're competing against each other, right? And you always looking at flaws. But when you just like stop all that bullshit and you just see each other for people, and you're like, that's a amazing woman, like that's a beautiful woman.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with what she even looks like, right? Like you're just like seeing her as a person, and being able to look at her, not even judge. You're like, you know what? Like look at the individuality, or just like, oh, that's different. Not saying like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like that's a totally different mindset. And so I feel like when we cross over into that realm of self-love, then we can start to project it outwards and be like, you know what? Like when I see other women, like I'm seeing like all these things that I love and appreciate and that I can, you know, connect with myself versus like trying to see differences in her that will put her separate from me and make me feel a little bit better about myself because we're different and, you know, my shit's better apparently. Yeah, so it's really a full circle that we do as women, also reflecting on how we feel about feminine energy, because we also self-hate. Like, like even vaginas. And like I used to not even like the way my vagina looked. It does this whole period thing. I didn't like that shit. It was painful. So it's like, you know, it didn't feel like a positive thing for me, but it's also ignorance. So one of the ignorance things. So let's talk about education, sexual education. I want to know from each of you guys where you feel like you got your sexual education from. How do you do sex?
Oh,
how do you do sex?
Okay. All right. Who wants to go first?
I definitely never had that conversation with anyone. I feel like I got it from like this book that my uncle jokingly gave to my brother, and I found it and I was like, "What's this?" And I read it and I was like, "What?" And from there on, I was just like, "Holy fuck! Like this is real."
A book for sex. A book about sex for boys. I want to read that.
It was just like, it was just whatever. But
so what did you get from it? Like, what do you, as far as like your first time that just gives you sex? Do you feel like you do anything or?
Not really. I feel like from the book, I just got a visual because I was so young that I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I got a visual and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, imagine, I was like, well, yeah, because it was just like organs.
Oh, okay.
But it was just interesting to me. And then I unfortunately, like, I was raised by women, my grandmother and my aunt, but I feel like I never really got that talk from them before. And although I love and respect them, and I feel like they're two of the most empowering and just strong women in my life, I feel like that's the only thing that we haven't really covered. Like how to do it, no, but like
just talking about it,
not really talking about it either. I think it's just like they knew, like I knew that they were there for me if I had a question. But it was just like they never took the energy to explain it to me. Which, I mean, I feel like I'm fine, but I feel like any child growing up should kind of have that guidance.
And did you have questions? Like, did you feel like you would like to have gone to them and you were scared?
I feel like, that would have been amazing. But, I mean, it's not something I'm scarred by. I'm like, oh, I wish I knew this. But it's just like...
A little ignorance that you
grew through. I'm just like, wow, I'm saying it out loud.
I wish more than words and
I wish I could have had that conversation because it's just, you know... from women to young women. Like,
did you ever see porn before you had sex?
yeah, I saw when it was like After Hours on HBO or something.
Yes!
Was
Oh my
like,
god, that late night HBO and Showtime.
Yeah, that was like, wow, it was a lot. I distinctly remember it, like, to this day.
Did you have the last button on?
No, I woke up and it was on.
Oh, okay, I had the last button
I
on.
woke up in my living room and I was a child still, and I just see like this couple having sex and they have like cake all over them.
Oh, I
was like,
I feel like I saw that one. When they had like cake on, they're like making sex with cake.
Yeah. I was so shook. I was like, what the fuck is happening? But
did you like it?
Yeah, thank you.
Did you enjoy it when you seen it?
Honestly, I was like I should intentionally probably fall asleep here more often, you know, just to be like, oh, I actually.
And I woke up and it was just on.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, but I wasn't here.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
But that's about it.
What about you, Farah?
Yeah.
Porn.
Porn?
Porn, and I think similar to that, I think it wasn't the first time, but I used to go play in the creek, and we had a nice house in Lake Forest at the time, and I used to go play in the creek, and bums always leave all their porn books everywhere. So I used to see it, and it, yeah, the magazines.
Yeah.
And so I used to look at that stuff, but I think I still remember her name. It was on HBO. It was called Emmanuel.
Oh my god. Okay. Yes. Oh yes.
I'm more visual. I probably know what she looks like versus her name.
And I remember I didn't really know what was going on. I just know like God, that's low key. I was probably like 7 or 8.
Oh my god.
Maybe. And I could feel it. It's something that spoke to me. I watched it and it spoke right to me.
Spoke right to you.
I didn't know what it was speaking, but I remember I just
Directly.
something was happening physiologically.
Yeah.
And I thought I had to pee, so I just I thought I had to pee. I remember, I think that was probably my first introduction. But just for the record, but it was 12 when it went down.
Okay, how was it at 12 though, going down? I can't go down that far.
I think that
you don't really know nothing.
and I truly believe this. And some people would say that maybe it could be considered as a lack of experience, but I don't think that. I think I've experienced enough. I grew up really fast, and even now, just in the short period of time I've been out, I've experienced a little bit. And I'll say at 12, I think that probably the most intense sexual experience that I had came from that time. It's the only time when when you study like Tantra and Kama Sutra and just spiritual sexuality, and they really talk about being able to unify, being yin and yang. Only one time in my life it's been so intense, and it's at this age that the feeling I felt was like I was actually merging or melting into or sinking into her, and I couldn't distinguish my body from her body.
Wow.
And you were 12?
Good. Yes.
And I've never been able to achieve that. I've never been able to achieve that again. I always seek for it. And the other way that I try to explain it, like maybe you guys know because you guys are women, maybe that's more something that you guys experience. But for men, I always try to tell myself, okay, there's this game that people play. You guys probably played it where you lay on the floor, someone picks you up from each limb, and they hold you up, and they start slowly lowering you to the ground, and it feels like you're sinking into the floor. You guys ever played that game? It's something about just closing your eyes, people pick you up, and then when they slowly lower you, I think your mind tricks itself and it thinks that you're supposed to hit the ground sooner than it does. So when they're slower, it feels like you're sinking into the ground. You feel like you're literally in the ground.
Anybody want to try that right now? Who wants to try that right now?
You can do it. It'll work.
So we need somebody on each limb?
Yes. So someone just has to lay down, and then we'll hold them, and then they'll close their eyes. We'll hold them for a second. Then when we start lowering them, it'll feel like they're sinking into the ground.
But
you want to try it?
I do want to try it.
Okay, let's do it.
How do we do this?
So what'd you guys think about that? I hope that episode opened some eyes to a different way of doing it. Look forward to the next episode. Until then, leave it low. It's the YONICHAT. We talk a lot. It's the YONICHAT. It's the YONICHAT. And I know I'm black. And my ass is fat. Your face is whack. It's YONICHAT. It's my yoni, my sacred space, my yoni.